In the present, due to the development of severe internet addiction of the teenagers, a civilian education facility called as the Elite Re-Education Academy was created. The main goal of this academy is to help and train the youngsters and teenagers to grow up as a productive, independent and self-respecting adults. One day, as Hibiki went to a cyber cafe to play his usual game, he gets drugged by strange people and passes out. As he wakes up, he sees many teenagers just like him stuck in a strange room. Seeing this, he immediately thought that they have been transported into a game world just like he had read in a manga, and he gets heavily excited. Suddenly, the doors of that strange room opens and Soldier rushes in. The hot headmistress with glasses of that academy, named Jean, makes her entrance and introduces herself to everyone and explaining about the academy that it is made specifically for trash like them. One of the teenagers makes a mockery of them, telling that he knows about that place and he is sure that they cannot hurt him because of laws and regulation of their country. Just then, the school head instructor named Cheyenne immediately beats him to the ground with blood splashing all over, and he continues his beating till the kid eventually passes out. The remaining teenagers were all shocked and scared in seeing this. Cheyenne explains to them that the only rules at this school is that they will only obey and do anything that the headmistress and he himself tells them to do. As Cheyenne takes roll call for them, he calls Hibiki the abandoned garbage because he saw his biodata that his mother totally abandoned him there until he reaches age 18. His mother did all this because he had a severe internet addiction and was extremely disobedient with his mother, and this is the reason why they had to drug him so that they could take him easily to this facility. Hibiki pleads Cheyenne to let him talk to his mother because he must be mistaken, but he is immediately declined. Then, Cheyenne tells him that he saw him earlier casting a glance at the headmistress. Hibiki immediately denies it, but he gets beaten by Cheyenne on the accusation of not looking at her even though she is very beautiful. And when he asks him again, Hibiki says yes, but was beaten again for being a pervert. He finally realized that this is his reality now, and he cannot do anything about it. After that, they were bathed and dressed like prisoners, and Hibiki decides that he will run away from that place because it is too terrifying for him. Without anyone noticing, Hibiki managed to sneak to the rooftop of one of the buildings, but he sees that there is no escape from that place. So, he tries to kill himself, but suddenly, one of the students named Shin calls him out, telling him that he can help him in his suicide attempt because he could see his hesitations. He further tells him that he should jump by aiming at the head instructor for his revenge for hurting him, because that way it will benefit not only him but to the rest of the students as well. But at the end, Hibiki decides not to jump, and Shin offers him a deal that if he sells his life to him, he will surely make his life easy in that prison and his life will have meaning as well, because he knows that Hibiki has been living a meaningless life and wasting it by playing games. And as his first offer, he will turn him into a real man because he can see that Hibiki is a total. Hearing this, Hibiki panics, and he tells him that he is not into guys and to stay away from him. Shin got so furious at him for thinking that he is not straight, that he starts beating the shit out of him. Later, he hands him a binocular and tells him that he can choose any girl from the field and he will surely get her to pop his cherry for him. Hibiki is very excited and tells him that he will do anything he says to him. As Hibiki is looking for the girls, he notices Shiori, the girl he had a crush on during his middle school, and he is totally surprised to see her there, because she was an honor student, not an internet-addicted like him. With that, Shin tells Hibiki to leave it to him and he will surely get a taste of his old crush. After that, Shin took Hibiki to Cheyenne as they were searching for him, telling him that Hibiki got lost as he was trying to find the bathroom. Cheyenne decides to believe him and he gives them a warning. And Shin tells Cheyenne and all his guards that Hibiki has become his dog, indirectly telling them not to mess with him, and they were all surprised in hearing this. Cheyenne lets Hibiki off without any punishments and he warns Shin that hope he has chosen a good dog. Seeing all this, Hibiki was really impressed with him and he starts to believe that he actually has influential power in that school. Shin plans his scheme to get Shiori for Hibiki by telling Wudo, the discipline officer, to do something for him. With that, Wudo starts molesting a girl named Jun and takes out a phone from her. He starts telling her that phones are banned in this school and she will be in deep trouble if the teachers find out. He further tells the boys to hold her while he checks if she is hiding something else. Suddenly, Shiori appears with a knife to Wudo's neck, threatening him to let her go. One of the boys tries to fight her but is immediately defeated by her. But suddenly, another student throws a big rock towards her, but Hibiki managed to stop the rock with his head, saving Shiori. As they were trying to fight, the guards came and they had to stop the fight, and Shiori invites the girl and Hibiki to follow her. as Shiori is treating Hibiki's wound. They talk about their past, and Hibiki is having the time of his life in seeing the package that his old crush is packing. And because of this, he got excited, but Shiori got so angry at him that she almost cuts his entire generation off. With that, Shiori immediately tells Jun to make a trade with her, and the girl and Hibiki is totally surprised in hearing this. Shiori tells Jun that she didn't save her out of justice, it is because she needs something from her. And what she needs is a phone from her because she is impressed with her ability to smuggle a phone when the inspection is very strict in that school. But Jun disagrees, therefore, Shiori tells her to leave and she will not protect her again the next time she gets bullied. Hibiki immediately tells Shiori why has she become so cold, when in the past, it was her kindness that he was able to get back on his feet when he was at the depth of despair. But Shiori just looks at him with her cold eyes and tells him to disappear. Just then, Shin makes his entrance and shows them a phone telling that he will give it to them if they follow his condition. Jun tries to snatch it from him, but Shiori immediately stops her and she asks Shin his condition. He tells his condition to the both of them, that if any one of them is able to pop Hibiki's cherry and make him a man, he will give the phone to that girl. Hearing this, Jun immediately tries to seduce Hibiki, and he immediately falls into her charms like a little. But Shiori immediately attacks her and Jun had no choice but to escape, since Shiori is a lot stronger than her. And Shiori immediately threatens Shin with her knife as well to hand over the phone. But Shin reveals that the phone he is holding is just a pamphlet and only if she finishes his condition, he will give her the phone that he had hid earlier. Therefore, Shiori has no choice but to follow Shin's condition and she tries to develop plot with Hibiki. And as she is seducing Hibiki, he gets so excited that his life flashed before his eyes and he is glad that he didn't kill himself earlier. But as she kisses him, she ends up vomiting on his mouth. She tries again and again, but every time she always ends up vomiting. Seeing all this, Hibiki decides to be a real man and tells her to stop forcing herself, and he promises her on his life that even though he is not that reliable, he will surely help her get the phone she needs and he will also help her to escape from this school. He wants to do all this because he cannot bear to see his old crush, who was a very sweet, innocent, and a kind girl, to become into a heartless monster. With that, he immediately starts milking himself on the corner so that he can prove to Shin that he had made plot with Shiori. Seeing his dedication, Shiori thanks him and tells him that if anyone tries to bully him, she will cut all of them down. And Hibiki is very happy in hearing this because he thought that maybe he has a chance with her to turn her into his girlfriend. Later, Shiori is able to get the phone and Hibiki is able to show the proof to Shin, and he arrogantly tells Shin that the next time, he should not use a girl's body for a trade because it is ethically bad. But Shin got so angry at him for being so arrogant that he starts choking him and tells him that, from that day onwards, he is his dog and he should address him as master because he has completed his end of the deal. Hibiki disagrees and he tells him that he did not make such promises and the only deal he made with him was not to kill himself and nothing else. Shin is angry with him but he decides to let him be. After that, Hibiki heads to his dormitory and he is very worried to enter his new room because he thinks that he might get bullied. But the dorm in charge named Bin greets him in a polite manner and they enter his room. Hibiki gets surprised because his roommate, whom he thought would bully him, welcomed him with open arms instead. His new roommates makes their introduction as the dorm prefect Kyle, followed by Rai and To, and they were all very friendly with him. Hibiki is really confused with their friendliness towards him, but it turns out that they were nice to him because they thought that he is Shin's dog, and they were expecting to get good food from that day onwards if they are friendly with Hibiki as well. Because Shin is like a boss in that prison who can eat any luxurious foods he wants, whereas the rest of the student has to eat the ration food which tastes and smells like shit. And when they figure out that Hibiki is not Shin's dog anymore, they tried to beat him. But turns out they couldn't, since they are all weakling and they have no energy as well since they have not eaten for days. And they confess to him that Bin has been asking them protection money, and this is the reason why they have not got any food for days. Hearing all this, Hibiki decides to help them out by confronting Bin to stop exploiting them, but they warn him that it won't end well for him if he messes with Bin. Hibiki just ignores them and he immediately heads to Bin's office. As he enters his office, he confronts Bin telling him to stop exploiting his roommates. But he replies to him that he does not care and he will do whatever he wants since he is the dorm in charge, and he knows that they cannot complain to anyone, and therefore, Hibiki couldn't say anything back to him. Elsewhere, Shiori discovers that she cannot use the phone because there is no internet connection in that place. Therefore, Jun asks her that she can help with her problem if she can hand over the phone to her. But Shiori declines because she knows that the girl is a con artist. After that, Hibiki attends the school assembly, and he is very excited because the first class after the assembly is gym class. But Kaio tells him to stop joking around because this is not an ordinary school, and they usually have no time for class in the classroom. Instead, they have to do military training from day to night, which is very exhausting. Cheyenne makes his way to the assembly and he starts taking their roll call for all the students. Since there are new students in the school, Cheyenne explains the rules of the school to all the new students. All the students must wake up and be ready by 7 a.m. where they will head out for training. An evening curfew is at 9 p.m. and everyone must be back to their dorm by then. Phone and internet are banned in the campus, and those who are late to training, insubordinate, or fail to complete their task or training will be punished. Those who break the rules, skip training, or ignore warnings will get a week house arrest in the hole. In exchange, those who act as role models for other students will be rewarded. After that, they had to do a very harsh military training. But Hibiki is able to dominate in all of his training because in the past he was a very athletic student. But he quit due to a certain circumstances. His roommates, however, couldn't complete the training and they all fell down to the ground because they haven't eaten for days. Cheyenne immediately punishes them by kicking and punching them severely. Seeing all this, Hibiki couldn't bear it, and he tries to stop Cheyenne from punishing them by telling him that they missed their lunch and they don't have any energy or stamina to train. Cheyenne immediately beats him as well, but Hibiki is able to fight back and tells him to beat him more if he thinks what he is doing is right. But he continues to hit him and Hibiki doesn't give up at all, telling him that he will never submit to him because what he is doing is illegal, and he will surely report him to the police. Cheyenne tells him that at this school he is the police and the law. He grabs his head and tells him to ask his friends and classmates to save him. But all his classmates and his roommate, who he was trying to save, tells him that the head instructor is right and he is the one who is wrong. Hearing this, Hibiki gets really demotivated, and as Cheyenne tries to punish him more, Shiori immediately comes to his rescue. Hibiki gets very happy to see her, and he thinks that at least someone is supporting him. But Shiori beats him even more and she tells Cheyenne that as the student council president, she takes the responsibility of the insubordination of the new arrivals. And she asks Cheyenne to give Hibiki one more chance and she will make sure that this doesn't happen again. Hibiki is totally disappointed with Shiori, but she tells him to not act like a hero in that school because most of the instructor there are retired military or ex-cops and he will never be able to beat them. Hibiki disagrees with her, telling her that what he is doing is right and he doesn't care if he dies for something that is right. Shiori insists him to not be crazy because the instructors really will kill him, because in the past there are many students that have died there because they tried to fight back. Hibiki does not listen to her at all and he pushes her away. And because of this, her phone fell down to the ground, and seeing this opportunity, Jun pins Shiori down on the ground and immediately informs Cheyenne. Cheyenne was totally disappointed with her since she was the student council president, and as her punishment, he tells all of her classmates to punish her, and if they don't, they will get punished in her place instead. And for Hibiki's punishment, he tells the guard to beat all of his classmates instead of him, and every time Hibiki does something wrong, they will all get punished in his place. Seeing Shiori and his classmates being in trouble because of him, Hibiki couldn't bear it anymore, and he submits to Cheyenne, telling him that he was right and the one who is wrong was him all along. Hearing this, Cheyenne orders to stop the punishment and all his classmates spits on him, telling him that he should go and kill himself for dragging them in this stupid mess. And Shiori tells him that he is a worthless bitch and to never speak to her again. Hibiki gets really angry and depressed at himself for trying to act like a hero when they didn't even deserve it. Shin comes towards him, telling him that this wouldn't have happened if he was his dog. Therefore, Hibiki immediately begs him to let him be his dog. But Shin rejects his request and tells him that he never goes back because it will ruin his reputation. But Hibiki begs him again. So, Shin tells him that he will only take him back if he fulfills his 3 conditions. 1. He should become the leader of his class. 2. Oust Wudo from his position as a discipline officer. And lastly, he will reveal it after he finishes these 2 conditions. Meanwhile, Hibiki's classmates instruct his roommates to beat him up when he comes back to his room, and they all agree. Suddenly, Hibiki enters the room and he tells them to make him their class leader. They all laugh at him, but Hibiki shows them a large amount of luxurious food and tells them that if they make him their leader, they will be able to eat this luxurious food every day, and they immediately agrees to his demands. After that, he begins telling him his plan to all of them to beat Wudo. And with that, Hibiki heads to Wudo's room and challenges him to a fight by mocking him and his underlings. They were very angry at him, so they all chase after him and he runs away from their dorm as per his plan. He starts defeating Wudo's underling one by one, and he manages to stop the remaining of his underling by using a trap and allowing only Wudo to come after him inside their dormitory. Suddenly, Bin closes the dormitory and all of Wudo's underling was locked outside because it was 9 p.m. And as per the rule, curfew is at 9 p.m. But Wudo did not worry at all because he knows he can beat Hibiki all by himself. Hibiki just laughs at him and all of Hibiki's underlings starts appearing from behind him because they all have been waiting for him in their dormitory. Wudo finally realized that Hibiki had planned for this all along, and they all start beating him and all of Wudo's underling couldn't do anything but watch as he gets beaten up by a bunch of weaklings just like a dog. Meanwhile, Jun seduces Ryo, one of the instructors, to get her the phone again. And the next day, he immediately went to Cheyenne to ask him for the phone and tells him that it is his duty to take care of such matters. In the morning assembly, Hibiki shows Cheyenne a huge number of cell phones and tells him that he found out that Wudo, the student discipline officer, has been smuggling phone in the school for a very long time. He further tells Cheyenne that his teaching and the encouragement of his classmates have convinced him to repent for his wrongdoing. And therefore, he tried to stop Wudo from doing such acts, but instead, he invited to join him. And when he refuses, he sent all of his classmates against him. But thanks to the help of his classmates, they were able to defeat them. Cheyenne believes his story and he starts beating Wudo like crazy, and as his punishment he is sent to the hole for 1 week. He tells Hibiki well done and he is very happy that he has repented, and he has high expectations of him. After that, Cheyenne went to meet the headmistress where he found out that one of the students named Moku had escaped from that school to go back to his home and his parents has come there to bring him back. As the parents leave, the headmistress gets really angry at Cheyenne for slipping up. So, she punishes him with a whip and Ryo notices all of this and he truly wants to exchange places with Cheyenne. Later, Ryo meets with Wudo, and he tells him that he has been set up by Hibiki and he promises him that he will get back all of his phones. But Ryo tells him that he doesn't know what he is talking about, and earlier, Jun has told him to take revenge on Wudo for embarrassing her. So, he orders the guards to beat him up badly, and after that, they will take him to Cheyenne for further punishment and interrogation. After that, Ryo meets up with Jun and she tells him that the phone he gave her was not her phone. And Ryo realized that Cheyenne must have switched her phone earlier, so he vows that he will get him for this. Elsewhere, Hibiki meets up with Shin and he praises him that his plan really worked and he asks him how did he know about all the phones that Wudo possess. Shin replies that he will eventually learn if he stay long enough in that school. Shin takes him to his room and Hibiki gets really surprised because his room is very luxurious and had all the necessary things he can relax and enjoy with. And Hibiki wonders who Shin really is. After that, he tells him about his third condition that his next target is the Class 6 leader, named Yo, who is a phone trader just like Wudo. He explains to him that the instructors and staff have been helping some of the students to do an illegal trade in the school, because they profit a lot from these trades. And this is the reason why the staff did not interfere in his fight with Wudo because they did not want any trouble. And they have a lot of students working for them and therefore they did not bother with losing Wudo at all. And since Cheyenne has high expectations of Hibiki, Shin tells him that his job is to find all the traitors and report them to Cheyenne. And if he does this, Cheyenne will trust him more and the other students will acknowledge his superiority as well. Therefore, it will be easy for him to help Shiori in getting her a phone or helping her in anything she needs. But Hibiki was hesitant and tells him that he had already smuggled a phone for her, and therefore he don't need to continue with the mission. Shin tells him that even if he gives her the phone now, she will still treat him like garbage, and the only way to make her acknowledge him is by rising up the ranks. He promises him that he will do everything to help him out, but in the end, it is all up to him if he wants to be the top of this school or continue staying as a loser. Hearing all this, Hibiki decides to accept the deal, and Shin tells him a plan. First, he must gather information about Yo in order to deal with him, because he has heard rumors about Yo, and he knows that he is not an ordinary opponent. So, Hibiki went to his room and tells his roommates his plan and orders them that they have work to do. But they all tells him that they are tired of following his dangerous path, and besides, if they just do whatever the instructor says to them, they will be free in a year, and there is no point in doing something so crazy and risky. Hibiki got so angry at them that he tells them to continue being a loser and he quits being their leader. Meanwhile, Ryo went to meet Shin, because he thought that Cheyenne would have given Jun's phone to him, since he suspects that they might have made a secret deal with each other. He chokes him and asks about the phone, but his bodyguard immediately comes to his rescue, and he can fight against an instructor as well, because he has permission from the headmistress to use violence against anyone who tries to harm Shin. Shin tells Ryo that he only wants to live in peace, and he is telling the truth about not having the phone because he has given the phone to Hibiki. Elsewhere, the leader of Class 18, Akane and Haku came to meet Shiori in order to make a deal with her to unite the three girls' classes into one. Because Shiori has a lot of influence in Class 19 and they know that she can easily persuade all the girls from Class 19 to join them. But Shiori refuses their request until they show her a device that has an internet connection. Akane tells her that she can finally communicate with her little brother by using this device, but she will get the device only if she joins them. Shiori is surprised that she knows about her little brother, so she asks her about it. Akane explains that stuff like that is easy for her, because she can easily hack into the school database and looked up on anyone's profile. She was also able to access her family register by using the police data system, and learn that her parents are dead, and she has an 11-year-old brother named Shu, who is currently in the 1st Central Hospital, Coronary Care, Ward Room 13, on the 8th floor. Shiori is very impressed with her hacking skills and she tells her that she will join them only if she gives her a working phone. Akane reveals that she currently doesn't have a working phone, but she has made a device that can track a phone that has internet connection and is working, and therefore, with her help they can fight the person who has the phone and take it from them. At the same time, Hibiki gets gang up by Wudo's underling who came to take revenge on him. But as per Shin's plan, Hibiki starts beating himself up and spray ketchup sauce all over himself, and he starts shouting loudly, saying he will never join them and break the rules by smuggling phones and he will never betray Instructor Cheyenne. Suddenly, Cheyenne makes his appearance and they were all trapped just like Shin has planned it. And as punishment, Khan, the ringleader, gets sent to the hole for 3 days and the rest were given punishment by not getting any meals that day. But then, as Cheyenne leaves, Hibiki tells Wudo's underling that his only target was Khan, and if all of them joins him, he will provide them with luxurious food items every day, and they all decides to follow him. With that, Hibiki immediately asks them about the location where Class 6 do their business. And they tell him that it's behind the dorm in the 2nd class building, and Hibiki finds it very strange, since Shin had told him that it was in the dining hall. They warn him not to go after Class 6 because their leader Yo is very strong. But the worst one is their homeroom teacher named Ryo, because he shows no mercy to anyone who mess with his class. And they all tell him to be careful, because he is currently being targeted by someone, because earlier they got the information that he is going to be here at noon, and that's how they came to fight him. Hearing this, Hibiki becomes more suspicious of Shin, thinking he must have set him up. Just then, Shiori and the girls suddenly came, and they met Hibiki, and it turns into a very awkward situation for Hibiki and Shiori that they couldn't even look at each other. On seeing Hibiki, Akane suddenly jumps on him and immediately proposes, because she totally fell in love with his good looks. However, Haku immediately demands the phone that Wudo was smuggling, because she knows that the phone is with him now, and warns him, if he don't, she will give him a pounding that a virgin like him needs. However, all the boys were excited in hearing this and tells her to give them a pounding as well, and they all start fighting. But Haku is a very strong fighter, and she is able to defeat all of them on her own, and only Hibiki was left. They demand the phone from him and threatening him that it won't end well for him if he don't. But then, Shin makes his entrance. And on seeing him, Shiori gets really pissed at him for giving the phone to her that has no internet connection. Shin tells her that she should have used her common sense to check properly before the deal, and he starts telling them that if they join him, he will make sure that they won't regret it. And he shows Hibiki as an example that he has accomplishes many things like beating Wudo in just a few days and being there, and he could accomplish all of this because he agreed to be his dog. Hibiki tries to convince them as well that it is true. But Shiori gets so disgusted with him that she starts telling him that the only thing he is good at is wagging his tail as a dog, and she tells him to never talk to her again. And with that, they immediately start fighting. Shin and Hibiki had no choice but to run away since Haku is a lot stronger than them. But the girls chase after them, not knowing that it is Shin's plan. And when they reach on the boys' bathroom, they saw many boys there from Class 6 including Yo. And both Shiori and Haku is immediately defeated by Yo as he is much stronger than them. But as Yo tries to beat Shiori more, Hibiki immediately stops him and he asks Shin what is going on. Shin explains to him that they are their new comrades, which includes Yo, the leader of Class 6, and Ban, the leader of Class 20, since they approached him earlier to make a deal with them and he accepted. With that, Shin orders Hibiki to take naked pictures of the girls they had captured so that they can use it to dominate over them. But Hibiki couldn't bring himself to do it at all. So, Shin warns him not to defy him for the second time, since he knows already that the last time, he did not make plot with Shiori. And if he defies him again, he will become his worst enemy. So Hibiki decides to accept his deal. But he tells him he will take a photo of only one of the girls and he need to make a promise that he will not hurt them in the future if they don't defy him. But he secretly hints the girls that he is making a plan. He tells Ban to let go of Shiori because he cannot undress her that way. And as Ban lets Shiori go, Hibiki immediately throws a jacket on his face and he hold him down and tell all the girls to escape from there and to inform the instructor. Akane and Haku is able to escape, but Shiori was too late and she gets captured again. Shin was completely disappointed with Hibiki, but Hibiki tells him that he will never swear loyalty to someone like him, because he knew that he was trying to set him up from the start. Suddenly, Bin makes his entrance telling all of them to explain themselves, but Ryo makes his entrance as well telling Bin that he got a report that all the smuggle phone was with Hibiki and he immediately pins Hibiki down. Shin tells Hibiki that the vice head instructor, Ryo, is on his side now, and Hibiki finally realized that Shin had betrayed him and he has set him up as he had made a deal with Ryo earlier. And as his punishment for hiding the smuggle phones and lying to the instructors, Hibiki is sent to solitary prison for 2 weeks, and his accomplice, the girls, will get 5 additional kilometers to run daily and a month of bathroom cleaning duty. And before going to solitary, Shiori tells Hibiki to stay away from her from that moment on. Inside the cell, Hibiki gets really depressed, but he decides to never give up and he will never trust anyone again, thinking that all of them are trash, and he comes to the conclusion that he needs to be the strongest man, because in this world, only the strong can be righteous. Hibiki promises himself that he will become the strongest man no matter what, and he doesn't care even if he has to sell his soul, but he will surely get back at all of them for what they did. And he starts training like a madman without any rest. Cheyenne sees his dedication and is totally surprised and impressed with him.